I sympathize with the people of Northeast for lack of electricity for more than a month, which speaks volume of negativity in every facet of our livelihood today. But this issue, because of the importance of power in contemporary world, shouldn't be only confined or limited to Northeast. It is a general problem. And so really and truly today, without electricity, you virtually can achieve nothing. Virtually nothing can be achieved without electricity. The local communication we were used to does no longer exist. It is all to do with our phones. And so without electricity to charge, the natives being able to charge their phones, how do they transact businesses? When the government of today, or the financial system today, preaches, propagates, and does all it can to institutionalize financial inclusion, cashless economy, it is all to do with this. And if there is no power to charge electricity, your phones, how do they transact businesses? As a native, growing up in my local community, what we used to have no longer exists. The traditional grinding machine that we grind corn and all our consumables that need to be grinded. Today, that does no longer exist. You use electrical machines to grind all you need for your daily consumptions. So without electricity, nothing can really be achieved. And this issue of electricity all around the country, Mr. President, like Senator Ahmed Lawan said, as uncommon as we know you to be, this 10th Senate should be much more uncommon in addressing the issue of electricity in Nigeria. Because I can really not understand why the inability to solve this problem in this country. All the sources of power generation that technology has provided in the world today, Nigeria has all those sources of power generation. And yet, we still don't have electricity. My local community is not exempted from the situation of lack of electricity. And we're talking corruption, fighting corruption. How do we fight corruption where life is so expensive, so difficult for people to live? The cost of diesel is a problem. The cost of this is a problem. And the government of the day is doing the best it can. But if we allow things like this to continue the rate at which they are going, Nigerians will not appreciate the efforts of this government.
But you notice that the motion, it is not that government failed to provide.
I am going there, Mr. President.
No, but start from there, because you have to tailor your contribution towards the motion. The motion is saying that as a result of vandalization of the TCN lines, that the entirety of the Northeast today has stayed without electricity. And then Senator Kaka said that some areas, because of insecurity and also the same vandalization, had even stayed for 2 years. But now, of recent, it has now extended to the whole states of the entire region. So, and then Senator Ahmed Lawan pointed out that federal government has tried to introduce the Northeast Development Commission, and that will help in terms of improving the infrastructure, but it is not enough. The government needs to do more in order to ensure that that area is taken as a special development area.
Mr. President,
for us to achieve anything. If you are saying that you can't understand why Nigeria has not moved forward in electricity, it's the same way that you can't understand why some people are tall and some people are short. That is a simple truth. The country is not in dire need of ideas or speeches, but the country is in dire need of action. And what we are talking about now is that everybody must contribute. All hands must be on deck. The vandals must stop in order for the Northeast to have electricity. And government must also do its best to expand the coverage. So I believe we are on the right track.
So what's the difference between...
So please...
I had not, I am not, and shall not talk out of point. Vandalization is a common problem everywhere, and those that are into this should be called to order. And having said that, I am, and I did say that the government of the day is doing the best it can to ensure that this situation is being handled. But if things like this continue, Nigerians will not appreciate. So really and truly, Mr. President, what you said and what I said are on the same path. So we should all do the needful.
So you support the motion?
Of course, I support the motion. That's why I raised my hand and you recognized me, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. The civil service allow, in addition, that it will also assist to give light to the Northeast. So the person was suggesting two sources of transmission, which will make it sustainable outside the repair of the immediate damaged transmission line. Please go ahead.
Sarkinyak in Kefi, representing Nasarawa West Senatorial District. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I wouldn't be exempted, or I wouldn't want to be excluded from our colleagues that commended, and I commend the sponsor of this bill. But having commended him, the issues contained in the bill are contradictory, conflicting, and of course, confusing. The ideology or the principle behind the items contained in the bill can be understood, which is the reason why I commend him. Let me take the issues one by one, because all the issues contained in the bill are part of our extant rules and laws already. Talking about market, there is already foreign exchange market in Nigeria. What is a market? Market is determined buyer, willing seller. It can be online, it can be physical, it can be virtual, it can be... There is already foreign exchange market in Nigeria. And of course, it calls for concern or concerns that we stabilize our currency. How do we stabilize our currency? I said earlier in the other chamber, the price of every commodity is determined by market forces, demand and supply. And so, for us to be able to sustainably stabilize our currency as Naira, we must rejuvenate our real sector. And the government of today is doing everything possible, because one of the reasons why the real sector is in the situation it is in Nigeria is, of course, instability in power supply. And this government is doing everything possible, electricity, gas, compressed natural gas, and what have you, to provide power. If we do not rejuvenate our real sector, which is a major employer of labor, we wouldn't, that will provide much more for domestic utilization and much more for export. And the more we export, the more foreign exchange we earn. The more foreign exchange we earn, the more our foreign reserve grows, and the more our currency gets stabilized. Secondly, where I commend him, and I am in sync with the idea of amending the law to bring it up to date, because dynamism of life makes it imperative for everything in life to be dynamic. For crying out loud, this is 21st century. So if the law needs to be amended to bring it up to, in tune to the realities of the day, that should be done. But I don't see any reason why we should contemplate. If we like, let's create 1,000,001 agencies, commissions, or modalities, so long as the fundamentals are not gotten right. We will not achieve all this. And all the necessary agencies, bodies, policies, rules that have got to do with all this, Mr. President, are in place. Senator Sani Musa, you remain my brother forever. I commend you for this initiative.
Thank you for your contribution. But you see,
the extension of the budget, I would really like to throw more light on what Senator Indume really spoke about. As we are extending the budget, we should, as a matter of responsibility, exclude recurrent. And the reason is this. If, for instance, in the budget, the initial budget, recurrent shows an item where seminar or conference would have been attended, but wasn't attended because there was no fund. Now that you are extending the budget, that means it is going to be carried over. Meanwhile, the period of such exercise would have been gone. So I think we should concentrate more on capital. Capital items should be the items that we should concentrate more in extending, rather than extending both capital and recurrent. I so contribute.
Thank you.